We're back, Jim.
Yes.
Today, welcome everybody. A lot going on, of course. When we didn't record, the world went
Did
to
something
hell.
happen while we were out?
I don't think so. We're going to talk more about this Trump hush money bogus trial that's going on. We're going to go into the campus protest still going on today as we speak. An ex-Biden DOJ official, something interesting about him. Teachers are fleeing the unions. Why are they doing that again? It's not what you think. Politico is very surprised. What are they surprised by? Jim's going to tell us. House Dems take an about face. That so much more. We've got videos. We've got a lot to talk about. Lots happened. We're going to try to catch you all up to date on this episode of what, Jim?
Two guys.
Yes.
One coup.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Very happy you didn't forget while you were away last week. Again, welcome everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you for putting up with the only one show last week, and a lot happened and we couldn't get to it. We're going to try to get to it today.
That's saying it mildly. I will say this, and I can say where I was at now, and with all the crap that's been going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody, you or anyone else, has been to Mount Rushmore. It is absolutely phenomenal. If you get a chance to go, I mean, it's incredible how it was done and all that. But you had a different sense. This is where patriotism is, right?
Yeah.
This is where true patriotism of America is, and it was nice to be there and not having to deal with this shit that's going on that we will discuss. But it was nice. It was so. I recommend it highly. That if you've never been there, go.
Put it on the bucket list for sure. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Right after Cooperstown. But yeah.
That's in Pennsylvania, Jim. Jim, I want to start off the show here real quick because we're going to talk a lot right off the bat here about Trump and everything else that's going on. The late great Rush Limbaugh on one of his last episodes had something to say about Trump that still applies today, and we all know it, and he's 100% right. I just want to go ahead and play that.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
Yeah. I mean, words that live true today still. Boy, I miss him.
Yes.
Boy,
it's just looking at him, that was one of his final shows, and it was
one of his final shows.
It is sad. And then to hear what the Dems said after he passed on. I mean,
oh my God. If
President Obama passes away, I'm not
sitting there.
No, now's not the time to sit there and say things like that. It's just not. Now, I know there will be some Okay, there'll be the jokes.
I mean, there's always those
everything
people,
else, but
right?
Man,
When
what
is
would
it
he
right
be
to
saying
celebrate?
right now?
Well, you know what he'd be saying, and what we need to say more, I think, is that there still is hope, because there still is 75 million and probably more at this point.
Thanks to the riots.
Correct. That are still, whether you say Trump supporter, or whether you just say not a supporter of foreign wars and open borders and high inflation and energy dependence on foreign countries. I mean, these are all simple things. The whole Make America Great Again. They always want to take that back to what, when there was slavery? Is that when America was?
Yeah.
America was great because of 21-year-old people who saw past the tyranny of a king and decided to fight for independence in this country. And now we've got 21-year-olds who are wearing masks and supporting terrorist organizations. Whether you think that Israel is killing innocent people over in the Gaza Strip, or you don't think that, or, war's ugly, people. War's ugly.
Innocent people are dying.
Innocent people are dying on both sides.
But why are they dying?
Why are they dying? Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, you can't, when you hide your headquarters underneath a hospital, things are going to happen, people.
Israelis are dying because they're being murdered by Hamas.
Yes.
Palestinians are dying because Hamas hides behind them.
Correct. Mm-hmm. That's exactly, it can't be said more than that. That's exactly what's happening. But anyways, we all know they're paid. We'll get into stories about that.
Honestly, if you think about that, Dale, it would be like if we go into because we had a shooting at our mall here.
Yes, I did see that.
And so it would be like going into a mall. And I know, and this is, so nobody sit there and give me a hard time about it, but it'd be like if there was a shooter and you grab your wife and you put her in front of you.
Yep, exactly.
That's what Hamas is doing.
Or somebody else's wife.
Because they know. Why do they do that?
Yeah.
Because they know Israel will not shoot.
That's right. And if they do, then they can claim how they're killing all these innocent lives over there while they're hiding behind those lives, and they can't see it.
We do everything. All of our allies, we do everything we can to protect innocent lives.
But war is ugly, and it happens.
Exactly.
And when you start a war, and then you bitch and whine because ugly things are happening once you defend yourself, then I'm sorry. That's just, you've lost the argument at that point to me.
Exactly.
So Rush would tell us to keep hope alive, that it's not too late, that we still can win this battle. And he'd be saying that today. He would still be saying that today, because he was a beacon of hope despite what the left tells you about him, and despite what the absolutely horrific things they said after he died. Is just, it's unbelievable. I miss that guy. I incredibly miss his voice. But anyways, wanted to play that just to start off the show. Jim, speaking of this, do you want to let's get into some of the Trump stuff, then we'll get into our beautiful friends who are protesting campuses.
Yeah, we'll finish that, because that's probably going to take the longest, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where you want to start. I could tell you this. If you want to play real quick, Maxine Waters had something to say. If Trump wins this has nothing to do with the trial, but if Trump wins,
well,
Maxine Waters,
it does in a way, yeah.
It does in a way, yeah. So if you really want to hear, Maxine Waters is very worried about Trump winning, and she should be, but here's the reason why.
This is a man who we better be careful about. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the Justice Department, and I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. I
got to pause it there real quick.
Yeah. And we know what we should have done?
What?
While she's talking, we should play what's going on the campuses right now.
Yeah. Worried about
who's
violence.
Doing what here?
Worried about violence. What's going to happen if the violence as if peaceful things are happening across this country as we speak.
I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with, who are training up in the hills somewhere and targeting, what communities they're going to attack. This is a man.
Why you damn hilljacks training up in them there hills? What y'all gonna do if Trump loses? You stole the election in 2020,
training up in the
people.
hills for years.
Yeah, we've been training for a long time. He's waiting for the right moment. That's right. And it's this time when if Trump loses, right? My God, the fact that that's all babble her.
They are allowed to say this.
Yes.
Because they know there's no, and unfortunately, the people that follow them are going to believe it.
They're absolutely going to believe it. Absolutely going to believe it. It's unbelievable. Jim, so getting into the whole Trump thing. Boy, this case is falling apart quick, isn't it?
Can I ask you how it's still going on?
Because you got a judge, for one, who's, a freaking liberal judge who's fining him $1,000. Now he's threatening to put him in jail. And he's even admitting that, he's most likely going to be the winner of the election, but I'm putting him in jail anyways. He's fining him $1,000 because of the gag order. Now, Jim, when has a defendant not been able to defend himself? When has that not been the case?
Well, if you any lawyer that has come on and talked, and they even talk, even lawyers on CNN, which is why they don't have them on there. Yeah. Okay, because if you are a legitimate lawyer and whether you like Trump or not, right?
Yeah, correct.
When a gag order is issued, first of all, in a case like this, it's never been issued.
It's never been issued in a case like this.
It's unconstitutional for them to do that.
Unconstitutional.
But Cohen, who is the main witness for these guys, is going on TikTok and doing all the stuff he's doing.
Yeah,
he's a proven liar.
I comment. Yeah,
and but he can say all he wants, and the judge's daughter, who is a fundraising person for Democrats, who gives money to Democrats, she can go out and say whatever she wants.
Correct. It's unbelievable. The crooked judge Merchant still has not allowed the defense team to know the witnesses that will be called before the court, too.
Which is unheard of.
This is unheard of in any court case. I don't care who you are. The far left judge told Trump that he has until 2:15 p.m. today to take down posts on Truth Social. President Trump again spoke out about Judge Merchant's daughter, did you just mention, who was making millions from the court proceedings in her work for liberal politics.
There's nothing to see here.
This is unbelievable. I don't even know what else to say, about it.
For those of you who haven't heard, and I hope you have, they had the attorney for Stormy Daniels. Let me get his name here. I had it in my damn head.
The current attorney, not the formal.
Keith Davidson. Okay, Keith Davidson was on. Now, during the cross-examination, and not even really, it was just during his witness testimony, the Trump attorneys, when did you speak with President Trump? I never spoke with President Trump. You never talked? No, everything went through Cohen. So then they played a taped between this, and Cohen was talking about, well, we need to do this or that. Maybe I need to set up another organization to put money in here and everything else. And then the only thing that was said on this video where Trump goes, "What money?
What money?" Yeah.
Right now, in my opinion, the prosecution is putting on a great defense.
Yes, they are. You're right. By even calling, like Hope Hicks, they literally are destroying themselves because they had no case.
Hope Hicks's comment was because they brought her as a witness. Okay,
the prosecution.
And she says, "Well, I had very little dealings with Cohen." And when Cohen always called himself the fix-it guy, but because he always broke it. So, she says this on the stand. Cohen is a liar. He's a proof he's disbarred.
Yeah, he's disbarred.
Okay, this is their star witness that's going to come out and say, and they have the. By the way, the Davidson, the attorney for Stormy Daniels, comes on and says that he was afraid he was going to commit suicide because after Trump won the election, he didn't make him attorney general or put him in his cabinet.
Correct.
So it makes sense that he didn't, knowing what this guy really is
what
like.
This guy's a buffoon.
And so then now they just stated the claim for defense for Trump to say, well, this is retaliation against me not giving him what he wanted.
It's motive. It's motive against him.
I'm watching. I'm like, why is this still going on?
Because they can. Because you got a liberal judge. Because you've got a judge who donates to the Democratic National, who's donated to Biden campaign in general. And then you've got the DOJ. You got an ex-DOJ, top Biden DOJ official prosecuting Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what's happening. The Democratic National Committee paid Trump prosecutor Matthew Colangelo thousands of dollars for political consulting in 2018. This guy prosecuting Trump. There's no conflict of interest. Colangelo delivered opening statements in the unprecedented criminal trial of former President Trump and currently serves as a top prosecutor with Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office. How did he land that job? He was like the third. Anyways, he was like the third in charge and lands this. Colangelo joined Bragg's office in December 2022 after the resignations of Mark Pomerantz and Kerry Dunn, prosecutors who were investigating Trump and resigned in protest of Bragg's initial unwillingness to indict the former president. Colangelo left a senior role at the Biden Justice Department, Justice Department to go work for Alvin Bragg. Is that not a demotion? Well, maybe not, huh? Who does that? Somebody who's got an agenda, and this whole case is a bunch of bullshit, and it's keeping Trump. He can't say anything. It's keeping him off the campaign trail, which he still goes on, by the way. And he literally he's like, you're paying me. Throw him in jail. Go ahead, throw him in jail. You think 75 million people vote for Trump? No. That's 100 million people that are going to vote for Trump. Go ahead and throw him in jail over this. See what happens.
The best thing that could happen to President Trump right now is this. When people really honestly, now the far left isn't going to pay any attention to this. They're going to think he's guilty.
No, not at all. This is all.
You've got, how we're always talking independents, right? Independents are important. They're important.
Yeah.
An independent's going to be looking at this saying, okay, guys, look, something's going on. And I'm going to give an example here. So if you don't mind. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Last week, the jury heard testimony from bank executive Gary Faro. This was another key witness to the alleged payoff, right?
Yep.
Who said he assisted Cohen in setting up an account for Essentials Consultant, LLC, the shell company Bragg alleges Cohen used to make the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. But Faro testified that there was nothing to indicate that the account would be used to make a payment on or behalf of a political candidate, to purchase a media story, or to pay an adult film actress. Faro testified that an account had been intended for those matters. There would have been additional scrutiny and delays in opening it, and he admitted it was possible the account would never have been opened.
Yeah. Case closed. What is? How did this thing? Okay, we know how it got to court. We know the corruption that happened in order to get this in front of the judge. We know the made up lies. We know the made up felonies. We know the whole. It's a bookkeeping error. We know that whole crap. Okay, we know how they did it. All right. The point is that this judge needs to be removed from the bench. This is. How is this not? I know it's not career ending because he's going to be he'll probably be up for a Supreme Court nomination if Biden wins, this judge. So
did you see what he did?
The judge?
After he brought pizza to New York City Fire Department.
Oh, Trump. What Trump
brought, Trump brought pizzas to the, and he complimented the police officers how they handled Columbia. And he's more presidential than the guy right now, right? We know that because first of all, and again, if anybody get mad at Biden all you want to, go ahead, folks. He is not. He has no clue what's going on. He is not running this country. They drug him up, go out and speak because now the administration is bragging about how they've been able to lower his amount of talking time and get more said.
I know.
No, that's not why they're doing it. All right, they're not. But guys,
I think it'd be. Here's what I know. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. But I mean,
it's fine.
The next speech Biden gives, if they literally would just turn the teleprompter around so we could read it, so that would be much easier for us all to understand. The guy can't even read the words written, right?
No. Well, he does. He reads exactly the words written.
Pause. Period.
I'm
Joe Biden. Who put a question mark at you? I mean, he's basically he's Ron Burgundy. Yeah. I mean, that's what he is. So this is unbelievable what's happening in this trial. Still no word, honestly, on the presidential immunity from the Supreme Court. I can't imagine we won't. I'm assuming we're going to hear that before.
Well,
the end
this
of the
wouldn't.
Month.
Yeah, this
no. This is something different.
Fall under that. Right.
I'm just going on. It's just another court case that's big that we've talked about. I haven't heard anything further yet on that. Is what I'm saying, Jim. Is all.
Well, right? We go into stuff like this, and then we also because a lot of the people that I talk to that hate Trump. Now the good news is they hate Biden as much as they hate Trump. So they said as far as for the president, they're not voting. Which is good. Don't vote if you don't. I mean,
that's
I'd rather you not vote than vote for that idiot. But
here.
One of the problems that I have with all of this is everybody keeps bringing up, well, he undervalued his property or overvalued his property and this and that. I mean, how many times do we have to hear that, right?
Correct.
I know, but everybody they talk to, he paid it back. There was no issues.
It doesn't matter.
The only people that had issues was Letitia James. She's the only one that had an issue.
Yeah.
And by the way, we find out then that Jon Stewart did the same thing.
Exactly.
So I asked these individuals, are you protesting for Jon Stewart?
Of course.
What are you talking about? Well, Jon Stewart did the same thing.
Oh no, they didn't hear that.
Well, no,
Jim.
Well, you didn't hear that, did you?
Yeah.
So again, I ask you, why is he being held to a different standard than everyone else?
Because
it's ridiculous.
Because they can't control him. Because both the left and the right, Democrats and Republicans, cannot control him. They can't. How do you get the war machines moving? How do you get the whole? We need more people illegally here to vote. You can't have a President Trump and keep your agenda alive. That's what they found. Right. It was shocking to them that he beat Hillary. They didn't even damn near try to cheat because there was no way he was going to beat Hillary. Right.
They didn't feel they needed to. Right.
And then when he did, boom, Russia. Phone call with Ukraine where you threatened them. I mean, you name it. I mean, it just kept going and going and going. And so that was the way. And now after he's out of office, prosecution after prosecution after prosecution where, you did this, you did that. The guy's how old? 80, 78, 80. How old's President Trump? I'm sorry. I don't somewhere around there, right? I should know that. For 70 years, the guy didn't do anything, right? I mean, he was perfectly fine. It's only in the last 8 years he'd become a racist, homophobe, liar, cheater, sex offender.
2 of the 3, just to let
Nazi
remind them. 2 of the 3 winners of his show. Okay, you remember his show?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I remember.
2 of the first 3 winners were black.
Well, that's just because they made him do it, Jim.
They made a lot of money.
Yeah,
working for him.
You don't even have to.
Working with
to me, sometimes, Jim, when you have to say like, "Oh, I've got a black friend," it seems like it's more racist. But what I'm saying is,
I try to put this out there is because nobody can show me where he's racist.
Well, nobody can. Of course not.
They try to do the Mexican thing, the Hispanic thing.
Oh,
but when you hear his whole comment,
no,
not just cutting out, all of them are. No, that's not what he said.
Yeah.
No, but that's why I'm making that point.
Yeah, I know.
And I know I hate it. I hate to say that because I agree with you. Because sometimes I find myself doing that. Well, I really, why do I have to do that anymore?
Yeah, you don't have
just
to.
Stop. I mean, it's because they're going to think of me no matter what they want to think of me.
Correct.
All right.
As
You and I support gays against groomers.
Correct.
Right. We support that group.
Yep. Sure.
But we're against homosexuals.
Yeah.
Oh, we are.
I am.
I mean, whatever.
I know. I'm against.
But they're going after this guy, and come on, folks. Anybody with average intelligence can look at this and say, "Why is this still going on? Why are we spending all this money?"
You'd have to think about that, right? Like we
want you to think about one thing. Alan Bragg is sitting in this trial. Okay, spending all this money on this that is going to get overturned. By the way, even if he's found guilty, the appellate court is going to just this is
it's going nowhere.
There have been so many.
It's going
starting
nowhere.
with the judge should have recused himself. All right, that's the first thing that's going to happen. The judge should have recused himself.
Well, the first thing that should have happened is just should have never got to trial to worry about a judge.
Correct, and
right.
even the liberalist appellate court is not going to be able to say no. They're going to have to say something's not right here.
Yeah.
So, but his popularity keeps going up.
Oh, keeps going.
And but Alvin Bragg is sitting here. Now we're going to get into this later, but Alvin Bragg is sitting there while what is going on in Columbia, what is going on on New York University or NYU. What's going on there?
Yeah.
And he's nowhere to be found. Now we'll get into that later, but so folks, if anyway, I'm done.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's just we got to, and the whole time, listen. Trump's the kind of guy, and I love the fact that they. I like the fact that they think they get him every time. Like, oh, this is one. This is the one. This is the one. I think we can go down 30 things, from Russia to now. This is the one. This is where we got him. This is where this is where it happens, right? And the whole time, the news is covered with the name Trump, which is that just falls right in, plays right into Trump's game.
He's not to spend any money
without spending a dime. He's getting advertisement. He's getting coverage. He's getting. The guy's a genius. The guy's a genius. He's absolutely a genius. And I know he doesn't want this. He doesn't want courts and all that, but he's using it to his advantage. That's what he does. He plays chess. They play checkers. This has always been the case. They can't get him on anything. And like I said, the first 70 years of his life, he was a saint, right? And now all of a sudden he's a Nazi. So, I mean, just
remember when January 6th first happened and they had the committee that they chose, by the way. Republicans couldn't put their own people on there.
Their own people.
The Democrats decided.
Oh, wait, they had two Republicans, remember, Jim?
Yeah, but the two Republicans absolutely hate Donald Trump.
That's right.
Jim Jordan wasn't on there, was he?
And two of them are no longer serving.
But you remember the testimony, every time they had a testimony on there, and you were like, oh, damn, that does not sound good.
Yeah.
But then you hear the truth.
You hear the truth about it.
Because like the woman who said that, oh my God, he grabbed the wheel and was turning around, forcing them to go back because he needed to be there. Yeah. And then they get the Secret Service guy goes, he never reached across the street. Well,
you know how big that, like he'd have to, like, how mobile was he?
Well, I mean, he said there was a partition
separated with the partition, and all of a sudden he's Superman,
Yeah, but remember they showed, oh God, Cheney hugging her after it was over.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi hugging her after it was over. And then we find out what really happened. So when you found out, well, this shouldn't have been done. This shouldn't have been done. And so it's like, okay, it's just like with Russia.
Yeah.
Oh, look what happened. Well, we investigated. Oh, you know what? That didn't happen. And it's just.
COVID came from a lab. It came from a lab, but yet Facebook was being forced by the Biden administration to not mention that and to remove posts and to ban conservatives who were saying so. I mean,
and by the way,
guys, this is all proven stuff. This is stuff that's factual.
And the next one, Attorney General Barr.
Yeah.
A person was pulled over and caught a whistleblower.
Yes.
taking from New York City to Pennsylvania voter mail-in ballots.
Correct.
He was caught. He was going to speak.
Correct.
It was silenced.
Silence.
But this evidence, actual evidence, not made up. You and I are not making this up. This happened. Okay.
And I just heard, Jim, that the raid on Mar-a-Lago, that the Department of whoever sends that stuff out, like literally, like right before it happened, sent them a bunch of boxes. Sent the boxes to Mar-a-Lago, and then raided it.
Yeah.
And now that's going to get thrown out because Jack Smith lied about it.
Yep.
Look, let me tell you about that real quick, Jim. If
that's interesting because I don't know if
President Trump this weekend, it just happened this weekend, called for Jack Smith to be arrested after the special counsel admitted, Jack Smith, the special counsel, admitted in a court filing that he lied to the court about the classified documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. Special counsel Jack Smith on Friday evening responded to Trump's co-defendant, Walt Nuada's motion to extend a deadline for disclosure in the classified documents case. Recall that Walt Nauta, a former White House employee and Navy veteran who worked valet for Trump and served as a personal staffer at Mar-a-Lago, was indicted along with Trump last year. In a motion filed late Friday, Jack Smith admitted the FBI messed with the boxes containing classified documents they seized from Trump and can't be sure the order of the placement of the documents. So, okay, not a big deal, right? In a May 1st filing, Walt Nuada's attorney claimed he had difficulty in cross-referencing materials in classified and unclassified discovery because, quote, certain items in the seized boxes he reviewed were in a different order from where they appear in the scans of the boxes. Okay, this all matters. Jack Smith, in his Friday night response, admitted the FBI moved the classified documents around. According to a footnote in the motion reviewed by the Gateway Pundit, the FBI messed with the boxes containing the classified documents they seized from Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. This is all. You remember the pictures of it laying on the floor, all nice and organized, and put. Not the case, and those were all sent there shortly before the raid.
In the story that we did just last week.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
With the FOIA, the Freedom of Information, just last week that came out that they specifically, because he had documents that that was not very good for Obama.
Correct.
Which in turn would not have been good for Biden.
Correct.
So now we're hearing all this
war
stuff,
with North
folks.
Korea, by the way, folks. Yes.
We're hearing this stuff now.
Yes.
And by the way, North Korea, Iran, Russia, and China are all getting together.
Yes.
That's good.
Biden's America, people.
Yeah.
Biden's America. But mean tweets are gone, and Trump is sitting there.
Orange
in
man
a
bad.
Court hearing, Orange
man bad.
Yeah. Trump won, and you know it, folks. And he will win again. He will win again. Yeah. Jim, let's get on to this campus bullshit. These entitled brat son of a bitch
just to let you
kids.
Guys know, these are the ones you are paying their student loans for.
Yes, you're right. Liberal arts kids. The white liberal arts masked students who are out there yelling "Free Palestine."
And
Did you see some
not
of the
just Free
interviews?
Palestine. Okay, these peaceful protests that we've got some video of some important congresswomen coming up, but peaceful protesters from the river to the sea.
Yeah, that just means they want to just get along with Israel.
Death to Jews. They're not allowed.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to go to class.
I think it's a conflict. I think it's just like a, like kind of an accent thing, like death to Jews. Like I think they mean Jews, like the Italians, like death to Jews. Not really Jews. I mean, that's what they're saying, I think.
And then on Fox News, there's a person that walks by and calls the Fox News reporter a fascist. Does everybody remember what fascism was?
It's far-right extremism. Isn't that what Wikipedia says?
No, it was Hitler, by the way.
Oh.
And Hitler killed the Jews. Hitler killed the Jews. Hitler kept the Jews from having any life, right?
Jim, you're lying. It's fake news, Jim. The Holocaust didn't happen. Hitler never killed a Jew.
I don't even think CNN could hide that.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Do you want to play AOC speaking at one of the protests? Where was this at? Do you know which location? Doesn't matter.
No.
It's AOC.
Well, she was speaking on Columbia before all hell broke loose.
Here we go.
Serves as a reminder of the power of organizing, of what we can accomplish when young people, climate advocates, labor organizers, and working people.
I'm sorry. To be honest with you, the only way I can pay attention to her anymore is if her shirt's off. I can't look at her. I can't listen to her.
Even I don't want to do that, man.
I mean, look. Sorry to those.
She's just when she talks, she becomes AOC, or she becomes Nancy Pelosi when she talks.
Then she'd have to take her pants off to see her boobs at that point. Hold on.
Of all backgrounds come together to demand the future we all deserve. It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping this country today, of all days, as we once again witness the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others.
What's happening at Berkeley today? What's happening?
Did you see the spray paint? Did you see the spray paint all over the buildings?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Basically, death to Jews.
Death to Jews.
That's peaceful, though.
They peacefully spray painted. Peacefully.
They broke into the hall. Broke windows.
Yep. And then I got a video here from an actual Jewish student. We'll play that and see how peaceful it was. But hold on a sec here. Let's finish listening to the horse-toothed asshole here.
Peaceful student-led protests cue up the police presence because of the growing threats to students, John.
And to key up this statement from the White House over the weekend, this blatant anti-Semitism is reprehensible and dangerous. It has absolutely no place on college campuses or anywhere in our country. And AOC is saying, go team.
Incredible.
Go team.
It's just like when CNN was doing these protests during the George Floyd riots. They're sitting there. There's no violence going on. Why there's buildings burning in the back.
Molotov cocktails flying past their heads. You know? Unbelievable. Kyle Rittenhouse had to defend himself from being attacked.
Yeah.
You know, because it was so peaceful. Before we get into the other stuff here, but with it, Ilhan Omar, right? She was also there. You said there's no sound, or it's just, let's just watch it. So if you're listening, you won't really get to, we'll explain what's happening.
The picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. And we'll have to explain the picture for those who just listen and don't watch. And if you're not watching, follow and share.
That's true.
But here we go. Let's see this. She's in the middle of them. Oh, she's shaking hands, hugging, sitting down. Oh, laughing, listening. I know all the textures taken. Where'd they get mass tents that look exactly the same? Oh, I know. George Soros provided them.
And you saw what happened afterwards, right?
Yeah.
We saw what happened. That was not peaceful. It no longer became peaceful.
No.
And my question is this.
Yeah.
When are the insurrection hearings going to be for the squad?
I'm sure.
Can somebody answer me that, please?
You know, Jim, the truth of the matter is, and we'll equate this in this way. If it wasn't the Jews, what would happen? Believe it or not, Al Sharpton had something to say about that.
It actually made somewhat sense. Somewhat.
Again, keep in mind, it's Al Sharpton. Let's hear what Al had to say about it.
How do the Democrats, how do all of us on that side say January 6th was wrong if you can have the same pictures going on college campuses?
Lord, don't make a parallel with January 6th.
You lose the moral high ground.
That has happened, though.
Okay,
that has happened.
So we know what's going on here.
Oh, just so we know what's going on here. It's peaceful, right?
It's worse than January 6th, folks.
Folks, it is.
Sorry.
It is worse than January 6th. It is worse than I got a Jewish
because
student
January 6th was one day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I want to know, honestly, I want to know how many Congress people were in the crowd joining the January 6th. No, we got leadership in this country on the side of terrorism, praising Hamas.
Yep.
When you're saying from the river to the sea, and you're saying free Palestine, you are praising terrorists, Hamas, and accepting it as that's a good thing. Let's listen to what this Jewish student said here.
I walked onto campus 3 days ago in the evening to go to my lab. I was walking by. I was identifiably Jewish because I was wearing my yarmulke. In fact, it was Shabbat. And what happened was that I heard someone yell my name, and then I heard them yell out my student ID number, my personal student ID number. What? And it was coming from this lawn area where there's this encampment. And they said, "We know who you are. We know that you're a biology PhD student, and you're not welcome on this campus."
They told you that. They said you're not welcome on this campus.
Yes, ma'am, unprompted. I was not there to counter-protest. I was not there to cause any sort of issue. I was just walking across campus.
And do you know other Jewish students who are experiencing similar sorts of attacks like this?
Yes, I know students that have experienced much worse. One of my friends had his personal property removed from him and lit on fire. I've heard on campus in videos, but also I've seen it firsthand myself, people yell, "Jews, Jews, go back to Poland." I've heard "Gas the Jews."
Gas the Jews. This is what AOC, Ilhan Omar, every Democrat who supports it, that's what you're supporting there.
And
who are the
before you
Nazis?
sit there and say, and before you sit there and say you haven't seen evidence, there's evidence all over the place where
all over the place.
Kids are trying to get in and they're blocking them.
Yeah.
Professors are not allowed on campus.
Yes, professors. We showed videos of that. Here's some students who decided to not take the bullshit anymore. And
is it the North Carolina?
It's not those kids. I love that.
Okay.
I don't have that video. I figured that's been played enough. I mean, it's the
people saw it. Yep.
Yeah, where they took down the Palestinian flag and those students raised the American flag back up. Beautiful shot. Wonderful. That's how you raise kids, folks. That's how, and this too. This is what I'll show you.
Did you hear his speech real quick, Eric Adams?
No, Eric Adams.
You heard what he said about the flag.
I did hear about that. I mean, for a minute there, I thought, is this guy Republican or Democrat? But he's Democrat.
He gained some points, not on my watch. And that's because, guys, these were Palestinian flags being replaced. The American flag.
They were replacing the American flag. Palestinian
They
flags.
couldn't do this.
No.
They couldn't do this in Palestine.
No. Oh, no.
If they put an American flag up in Palestine, there is no Palestine, but there is no in Gaza,
in the Gaza Strip.
What would have happened? What would have happened?
Oh my God!
What building do you want to be thrown off of?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Do you like your head? Because you won't keep it on your body if that's what you do.
Right.
Here's some real quick. This is. There's protesters, students singing the national anthem. I mean,
there you go.
That's what it's taken, folks. It's taken students on their own campuses to stand up and say, enough's enough. Enough with the bullshit. Enough with the paid protesters. I can't tell you how many interviews I've seen where they've asked the protesters, why are you here? I don't know. I don't know.
Isn't that something?
I don't know.
Or go talk to our handlers.
Take down your mask.
They tell you to go talk. Yeah.
They go take, the guys in the yellow vest, they're our handlers. Go talk to them, They won't take down their masks. They won't show themselves. Folks, this is all bought and paid for by your friend George Soros. 100%.
Look, if you if you protested, okay, and the school said, all right, we're going to let you stay. We're going to, do this. But folks, the moment the school tells you to leave, this is no longer an organized you are now trespassing.
Yeah.
You are now breaking the law. Okay. So all of this destruction and rioting that has happened, a lot of these students are on student visas from other countries. Okay. So if you just protested peacefully, suspension should happen.
Correct.
If you, after you were told to leave, because it's a whole different thing when you're okay. But if you were seen vandalizing, if you were seen blocking a Jewish student from getting into class or harming anybody, you lose your student visa. You get sent back home.
See you later.
You get kicked out of school if you're in school. If you're an American citizen and you're going to school, you get kicked out. You're gone if you did any vandalism or anything else to that nature.
Correct.
How much of that you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I know. None. None. Absolutely none. They've made arrests. They've made. What do you think's happening to them? For one, all bail will be paid for by the Soros Foundation, or the Democratic National Committee. So
I was surprised, and I know. Real quick, I want to talk about the Politico thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Please. This fits.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Anti-Israeli protesters on college campuses are reportedly getting funding from several big-name Democrat donors that have backed President Biden's re-election efforts, according to a report. Democrat donors such as George Soros, we knew, right? The Rockefellers, we knew, all right? And Susan and Nick Pritzker, who own the Hyatt Hotel Corporation, have funded pro-Palestinian efforts against the Israeli and Hamas war. The other two that I was very surprised was the Gates Foundation.
Why?
I know I shouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, why? Why
I know I shouldn't have been surprised, but
the guy wants fake meat.
I'm just like,
population control.
Well, Politico was surprised.
Oh, Politico was surprised.
I mean, Politico couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe all the donors
Their eyes
that
have been
were
closed for 10 years. Unbelievable.
But here's what I like. The Politico report headline: Pro-Palestinian protesters are backed by a surprising source. Biden's biggest donors was panned online Sunday for finally acknowledging what others had reported. So this was on Politico headlines. They had brought this up. Well, here's some comments. This is actually the least surprising thing I have heard all year. Chai Reichik of Libs for TikTok said, glad you could make it. Washington Free Beacon reporter Joe Gabriel Simpson said. Jim Banks, pro-Palestinian protesters are backed by a surprising source. Biden's biggest donors, So, welcome to the welcome
to what we've all been saying for Politico.
So, but anyway, so they have proven this, guys, that these, especially the Rockefellers and Soros, these foundations have paid for what's going on. Now, when I say paid for it, there are professional protesters that go. Yes, they're not part of Columbia. They're not part of NYU. They're not part of UCLA. They go there and they indoctrinate. But one thing I want to add from this story before we get on anything else, folks, don't just blame the professors on the campuses right now. Yes, they are to blame. Okay, a lot of them, not all of them, but they are to blame. But this started in schools. This started in elementary school. This started in middle school, and this started in high school.
So that's why I blame the professors. I mean, they're the liberal ones teaching them these lies.
Well, not all of them. Right.
I understand that. I understand that because there's a lot of like you're right. Truthfully, there's a lot of Jewish professors who are liberal, Jim.
Well, at Columbia, at Columbia, the professors were there.
Yeah, no, we're there
with the students.
So you're right. It starts. They have been. These brats were. And I'm not saying they all came from. I'm having this argument online. Listen, with somebody in a group that has nothing to do with political, but they're talking about how many conservatives were involved in that in those protests with the students. I'm like, then they're not conservative. They're not for Palestine if you're conservative. So no, they might say, oh yeah, I'm a Republican. You know, Romney's a Republican. He's no friend of the conservative party. So anyways, it's a bunch of hogwash. It's a bunch of bullshit, you know. It's unbelievable. But you're right. It started a long time ago, and it's just they've indoctrinated
this is
it.
What's going on?
I think I saw the Babylon Bee, one of our favorites, say, you know, Israeli withdraws all troops from Hamas after finding out that Becky, liberal arts major Becky, is protesting. You know,
well, did you see what they were demanding? It had nothing to do with now.
I don't know all the demands because I literally refused to read it. I was like, you don't have a right to demand shit, kid.
Well, some of the demands were the school should divest in any investments that they had with anybody related to it, Israel. Okay, that was the big one.
Yeah,
but it went so far. We shouldn't have tests. Tests should be canceled. That was one of them.
Oh, of course.
Because it was too stressful.
Oh, yeah.
For students who weren't there.
These are the safe space
For students
kids
who weren't there, students were there. Yeah, these are the safe space kids, guys.
Yep.
And Northwestern, my favorite one. Bring back the Green New Deal and pass it now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, first of all,
that'll save Palestine.
The bill, whatever that bill was that they put, that was in. That was it. Yeah. It wasn't called the Green Bill, but it was the Green Bill.
It was the Green Bill. It's going forward.
And
they don't even know.
They demanded that. They demanded the United States stop using fossil fuels.
Or we're not going back to class. Get out then, you loser. Get the hell out to the streets.
These are entitled dipshits. I'm sorry.
Jim.
And they are complete.
If I went online right now, how many Palestinian flags do you think I can buy at one point? I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
How did they all get them? How did they all get green tents with gray bottoms? How'd they all get the same signs printed from what, Vista print's great. You think they're printing that many?
Did you see UCLA?
Yeah.
They had gas masks.
Gasks, man.
They asked for knee pads. They asked for helmets.
I know you could buy it off of Amazon, but no, these are already people who had them and they were provided them. This was planned. It was happening. Okay, on this date, we're going to start protesting, send out the whole Facebook posts or whatever social media posts to get everyone attracted to it. And then we'll just have this movement across the country. And for what, Jim? For what are they doing it for?
Yeah.
They don't even know.
They don't know.
To create havoc.
Because they're angry. You and I've talked about this many times.
They're angry.
Being liberal, they are never happy.
They're miserable
they're
human
bitter.
beings.
They're ups. Yeah, because it's everyone else's fault. Even though I do like that sometimes, being able to say, well, it's not my fault. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's not really how it goes.
And as a husband, I don't get to say it a lot,
But I won't go into this a lot, but did you hear what happened?
What?
The Biden administration put a hold on a shipment of American-made ammunition to Israel last week amid concerns over an Israeli invasion of the Gazan city of Rafah.
So,
$20 said these protests did this.
That's what did it.
So what are they going to do if they know they can get away?
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't negotiate.
Oh my God. This is unbelievable. Jim, all right. We'll keep everybody up to post on that before we leave here today. We'll get into some new updated headlines, but something interesting too, when we're talking about the schools and all the whiny bitches that go to them now. For the 6th year in a row, the National Education Association faces a mass exodus of members, but the blame doesn't lie with a shrinking student population or loss of funding, as NEA President Becky Pringle, one of our favorite, would have you believe. The NEA's blatant prioritization of a radical political agenda at the expense of member representation is the true culprit, resulting in a loss of more than 12,000 members in 2023 alone, per the union's latest financial report. 12,000.
12,000 in 1 year.
Yeah, that's because, teachers, you guys, it's Moms for Liberty. They don't want teachers. They hate teachers. That's what. Come on, guys. Anyways, union membership rates have been on the downturn for decades. Unlikely for big labor, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Janus versus AFSCME in 2018, which firmly recognized the First Amendment right of public employees to leave union membership behind, accelerated this downward trend. The NEA strategy to retain members and, by extension, steady cash flow relies on keeping teachers in the dark about the First Amendment rights affirmed in Janus. When the union isn't mischaracterizing the ruling as a ploy to take away the freedom of working people, it states affiliates such as California Teachers Association support legislation prohibiting employers from speaking to union members about their freedom of association rights. Folks, it's the liberal agenda. It's the government control over a useless union, which is the teachers union. It's absolutely baffling that this can even go on. And the Department of Education needs to fund it. We know that. We've talked about this for ages now. But isn't that interesting, Jim? They want
because you always have to hear.
Go on.
Well, I've got something to add to that.
Go ahead.
A friend of ours posted on, but we'll go into what you're saying a little bit. Because how many times do we have to hear? You made the point. We have to hear, it's Moms for Liberty.
Yeah,
it's the book burning people. It's the Burke banning people. All that stuff that's doing it, and it's not. Okay, it's this crap with the parents are pulling their children out of school because it's like, I want my children to learn.
Because if you don't, they end up at Columbia acting like that.
Cross-dressers, drag queens do not need to be reading to elementary kids. They don't. Now, if you want to in high school, have them come in and talk to the kids in high school, send out a note to the parents, let the parents say, yes, you can, and then fine. That's elementary. Leave them alone. They're trying to learn math. They're trying to learn English.
What is
They're
the
trying to learn
limit,
basic science.
I mean, do you think of it? Why do
I'm saying
do
a high school
feel the
kid,
need for any drag queen to go to any school that anybody can read
I understand
to them?
that, but we always talk about it's the parents, right? We always talk about the parents' right. So if there's some parents that don't mind this happening, fine. That's their choice, right? That's their right to decide that. But
start drag queen university, the whole point and they can all go there.
But the whole point of the matter, I'm telling elementary schools, forget it. It should not even be contemplated for that because they don't know what the hell they're looking at.
Jim,
they have no idea.
Can't indoctrinate them too young, So,
but that's the problem. But there was a post here on Allen County Moms for Liberty page that I thought was very impressive. It kind of surprised me a bit in a way, and I know it probably shouldn't have. But growth in administration staff, principals, teachers, and students in public schools. The percent change. So there's a percent change. Administrative staff.
Yeah.
What the percentage change was. So the increase, right? So, because all I have to, how many times do we have to hear more money?
Yeah,
right.
Correct.
Well, no, you get enough money. You have to be smart with how you use it.
176 million in dues they collect.
Yeah, that's how you do this. Well, since 2000, administration staff percentage change, 88%.
Whoa.
These are high-paid positions, folks.
Yeah.
These are administrative staff, okay? Well, some of them are. I guess secretarial will be involved in that some. But, okay, these are directors. These are all that, right? Next is principals and assistant principals change, plus 37%. Okay?
Okay.
The teachers and students, 8% increase.
Wow.
Now, this is going to continue to go down because this is only through 2019. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to continue to go down, right? So it was interesting because how many times do we always have to tell people it's not you need more money.
Yeah.
Use that money more wisely.
Yeah, it's never throw more
because
money
I can tell you can go to every school system and you could look at the administration and you can say, do you really need that position? That position that pays $150,000, can we eliminate that position and hire 5 teachers for a classroom to give them 2 teachers to be able to do what they have to do to get these kids smart again? These elementary school kids, during COVID, they were the ones that suffered the most.
Sure were.
Okay, because they didn't have English. They didn't have math. They're behind. So I feel sorry for the teachers that have to deal with them and get, your kids aren't passing. Well, of course they're not passing. They didn't go through phonics. They didn't go through learning how to read correctly because, by the way, they were out in school. And now this is all schools, let alone liberal states is completely different. That's
correct.
A whole nother thing. So
a whole nother thing.
Again,
correct.
folks, it's not you need more money. Use the money you're given correctly, because in industrialized nations, the United States gives more money per student than any of the industrialized nations, but we're the lowest scores.
Yep. Because where's
money
the money
doesn't
go?
solve it.
Goes right to the Becky Pringles. It goes right to the heads of the unions. It goes right to, you're right. That's exactly where it goes. So you're absolutely right about that, Jim. Jim, is there anything up to date here we can talk about before we get out of here? Or do you have something else you have to?
Well, one quick thing before we get into the UC San Diego thing.
Yeah.
When an election's coming around and you are in what you consider a toss-up, or even in a race that leans Democrat.
Okay.
Here's what you do.
What?
House Dems seeking re-election seemingly reverse course. Call on Biden to bring order to the southern border.
Oh, come on.
Now, what's funny about this, 5 vulnerable Democrats who voted against measures to strengthen border security in the past have seemingly changed their mind in their tunes to seek re-election.
Wow.
Following President Biden's $95 billion package to both Ukraine and Israel, and it sounds like that package to Israel
is being
adjusted a little bit. Yeah. 5 Democrats, Representative Jared Golden of Maine, Mary Gluesenkamp Perez of Washington, Mary Peltola of Alaska, Vincent Gonzalez of Texas, and Don Davis of North Carolina, released a statement agreeing with calls for Congress to act on the southern border.
Oh, wow.
But they voted down the bill that had $19.6 billion for border.
For the southern border.
They voted that down.
Correct. Yeah, but now.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting because,
if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, right? I mean, that's pandering to the blacks every 4 years. Now they're jumping on the bandwagon with the southern border right before the election. Isn't this shocking? And people are dumb enough to still vote for these people. Jim, they're going to fall for it.
What's
they
really
do every
sad,
time.
To add on to what you said, Democrats can't run on economy.
Nope.
You can't run on security.
Nope.
You can't run on foreign relations. That's why they're pushing abortion.
Correct.
That's why they're pushing it, and that's why they're pushing the anti-Israeli. But what they don't understand, and this is how stupid they are, watching these college protests, watching all of them, they don't like Biden either. They're not fans of Biden.
So we had the video. I don't know why we didn't play it. I didn't have it here. You're right, Jim. Where he had both the people, the pro-Palestinians and the pro-American or pro-Israel.
Is pro-American in Israel. Right?
All saying what, Jim? Fuck Joe Biden.
Yep. F Joe Biden.
They were both yelling it.
Yeah. Both of them together. All of them together. Not at separate times. Together. And this is what they are running on, because the only thing they have right now is abortion. That's all they have. And it's sad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go on. No, I was going to say, and the folks who are their climate change freaks. That's the only two things I can run on.
Yeah,
those two idiots.
Same people.
Group of idiots.
You're right, but it's the same people.
I think
they're pretty much the same. When even though 75% of America, and during all polls that you look at, agree that abortion needs to be legalized, but there needs to be a limit.
Correct.
Not those wackos on the left.
Nope.
When is a baby? Not until it's born. Really? Till it breathes its first breath.
Well, there's a bunch of college students that should be aborted right now, I think, to be honest.
Well, I'm kind of wondering why.
Maybe I'm leaning.
But
my
favorite on abortion, by the way, real quick, because we don't want to get into it. But my favorite on abortion is they always bring up, when you're a poor mom that has no money and you're pregnant, what percentage of the people who have abortions are that? Most of the people that have abortions are the ones that want to go out, are the career women who had sex with somebody. They just went out and had sex with a stranger or a boyfriend that they're not serious about. They don't. I can't have a child. That's who's doing it. And teenagers who don't know any better.
Well, they do, but
okay. It's not the poor. It's just like you and I talk about. We always have to hear about incest. What percentage of this is really
what percentage is that's happening?
Or yeah. I mean, so we always have to hit what's the other side too. So I love that when they always say, "Well, it's the poor people. They can't afford everything. They can't afford an abortion." Or they can afford an abortion, but they can't afford to go buy birth control. They can't afford to go buy a condom.
That's free.
Or if you think the condom broke,
you can't get
there's Plan B.
The Plan B pill
and
or whatever.
I guarantee you, Plan B is cheaper than an abortion.
Does Plan B work on 21-year-old Columbia students still? Does it?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, I know if I was going to spray anything at that time, if there was any spray that we could put on these college campuses of all these protesters, is to make them sterile. Because we don't. I'm telling you,
I think
right
mustard
now,
gas does it. I don't know. I've heard.
I hope the
Napalm.
public school system. I hope the public education system, the idiotic professors that can't be fired now because they have tenure at these campuses.
Right. Can't fire them. Thanks.
Way to go.
By the way.
They can't function. This generation is lost, and everybody else gets mad at me. But I say this generation's lost. They're done. If you are in middle school and high school right now, a vast majority of you are going to fail in life because you haven't been taught how to succeed.
Yep, correct.
Okay, you've been coddled. So we need to go to elementary school kids, and we need to start changing this around. Forget about this group; they're done. Yeah. I mean, there's a small percentage that are not. Small percentage is going to be.
I mean, we've seen them on the campus.
We've lost
protecting
this group.
The flag, singing the anthem. I mean,
exactly.
Those are we
now
know
it is a small percentage. Okay, it is a small percentage because the protest. Columbia had students, and it was only a small example. But if you look at what is going on, and even the ones who don't protest, you and I are experiencing this in the work life. They demand. They demand. They want this. Entitlement. And anyway, so folks, we need to really work on the elementary kids right now because we're in trouble.
You do. Do you remember the name? Before we go here, I'm just going to do a couple headlines if you don't mind, and you can as well. I mean, whatever you find. But
no, I think I'm done. Yeah.
Remember back in the day when we got banned for talking about the Wisconsin voter rolls and the trial that was going on and all the. You remember all that?
The truth.
The truth.
We were talking about the truth,
which ended up being the truth. Do you remember the Milwaukee election director, Claire Woodall Vaugh? Remember that name? Anyway, she was the election director who personally attacked conservatives. We were lying and all that. Well, she was recently terminated from her position. We don't know why, but she is no longer there, but probably because she got caught and they're going to replace her with somebody else. ABC News president was released. What does that mean? Who knows? Biden regime prosecutor seeks 12-year prison sentence with terror enhancement for son of Media Research Center Brent Bozell for January 6th. I don't know if you saw that. 12 years prison sentence. 12 years. Anyways, that's some of the headlines before we take off here. Jim, you got anything else to add? Yeah,
no,
I think
that we went over everything. I think we need to, folks.
And I bring up the January 6th stuff because stay tuned for Thursday's show.
Yeah,
it's the January 6th show. So just
we'll talk a little bit more on that. But it's these campus protests. They're not peaceful. They may look peaceful in paper. All right, just like socialism looks good on paper.
Does it?
When it's implemented, it's not so good.
It's not.
I mean, when you sit there and say the government,
hey, they're going to take care of you and you pay for everything and all that. Yeah, I guess, that sort of looks good.
It's just like, when we find out now that I didn't, there's actually been money given to students.
Yeah.
For their student debt. Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's a number of, a lot of money has been given.
Yeah, correct.
And are they going to reimburse us now?
Yeah.
I think I should call him because I don't think I got my check.
The checks in the mail, Jim. The checks in the mail.
I don't think I got. And by the way, I'm a functional human being.
Oh, are you?
Well, some people might question. Some people might question it, but I'm paying taxes, a lot of them. Because we all are.
That, before we go, Jim, you take boner pills, right? So, wow, the guy who created that Hims and Hers, that's kind of a generic Viagra stuff and all that.
Saw it.
Yeah. His stock plummeted because he was saying, Palestinian protesters, I'd love to have you work for me. Okay. Yep. Well, then his stock plummeted. Now he's reversed course. Now he's saying, well, I'm just trying to, play both sides. I respect
those individuals. Those individuals aren't going to have a job to be able to buy their products.
They aren't. Yeah. And for the love of God, please give none of the male protesters for Palestine a boner pill. We cannot have them reproduce. Don't give it to them. And Hamas accepts ceasefire deal hours after IDF issues life and death ultimatum. We'll see how that works out. Jim, that's all. Long. Yeah, it won't last long. Jim, that's all I got today. I don't know about you, but I think we're good to go. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
We appreciate it. Again, please like, follow, and share on Rumble. All of our friends to follow and help out there and support. Please do that. We say it every show.
And for those of you, on TikTok, okay, look for me
I keep forgetting
on TikTok at JD757690. Okay.
Because I wish you just change it to a better, an easier. Anyways, go on.
Okay, fine. I'll try to change it. But anyway,
don't. You can't.
JD7576. If anybody knows anything about me, you will understand those dates. Anyway.
Yes, but if you don't, then none of it makes sense, and it looks basically.
Well, I've seen some worse ones out there than mine.
Well, there are weird ones. Right? Why did you have to be one? But go on.
So please
JD757690.
90. Okay, follow me, please, because I need to get my numbers up so Dale and I can do live together. I mean, right now we can do live with me on phone, live TikToks. I can do a live with him on phone, and I can hear, and people can hear me and stuff, but it's hard.
It's not the same. We want to do a live TikTok, and we want to start doing those, a couple times a week.
Because we encourage the people who think opposite we do. We have a lot of fun with that.
We have a lot of fun with those. So, follow at JD757690 on TikTok. I meant to put it on the last episode, like bring it up there in big, bright letters and so everyone could see it. I'll do it this time. Follow Jim.
Because thanks to Dale, our 2 Guys 1 Coup is up over 1,000. Both of us can't do it together.
No, correct.
And since Dale was the one that got it up there, he has the right to be on it. So now I have to get my numbers.
We can't have both of us on it. We can't have both of us on it. Right. We can both post on it separately.
Yeah, and we're going to, because I'm going to start doing some. We already talked about that. I'm going to start doing some posts on my personal one, and
sharing them with
the same things on. Yeah.
We just need to get Jim's numbers way up there. So do it, and then that way we can go live and we can start having some fun on that.
Really, we'll have a lot of fun.
A lot of fun talking to those supporters of ours.
And Dale, who's our do we want to talk about the guest, or do we want to just let it go until we
let's just me, right? So I talk about it and then I talk about it and then nothing happens, but I think we're good to go. Honestly, I won't say last name or anything. Her name's Sarah, but anyway, she's going to be she's the wife of a gentleman who is incarcerated for the January 6th, 2020 insurrection, and we'll tell you. She's here. She'll be here to tell us her story, what's happened to her husband. It's unbelievable, especially considering who he is and what he did while he was there, and what she's going through, and her fight to help all the ones who are incarcerated unjustly and politically motivated incarcerations. She'll be here to tell us that entire story. It's amazing. We can't wait. We're very fortunate to have her on the show. That will be this Thursday's show. So until then, again, like, follow, and share on Rumble. Follow Jim on TikTok at JD757690. Let's get those numbers up, people. And until then, we will see you all on Thursday. Jim. Goodbye, sir. Bye.
You've been listening to the 2 Guys 1 Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for 2 Guys, 1 Coup. That's the number 2, guys, and the number 1, Coup, C-O-U-P. Thanks again for listening to the 2 Guys, 1 Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.